So your rent is always inclusive of your power, your water.
Mm-hmm.
I had prepaid internet, so that
Ah.
was $45 a month for my home internet, and
Mm-hmm.
then my phone was another like $45, and that was for like 100 gigs of data and cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's $90 right there. My internet bill is 100 and I think $20. Maybe it's internet and it's
Oh.
security. So because you need security here. If you had security in Kuwait, they were looking at you like,
Oh, do you mean like your ring light and things like that?
no, I
No.
mean like my security system, my alarm system.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So I'm paying like $176 for security and for power and for internet.
Mm-hmm.
Internet is so expensive here.
You know what? I do agree with that. So when I was in Japan, I pirated internet my entire 2.5 years there.
See, you can't do that here.
No, there's no way.
It's just so expensive. And you just get to the point where you're just like, okay, I have auto insurance, a car note, a mortgage or rent, whichever you have. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have light bill and water bill, and you have your phone bill, and you have security if you do that. If
Mm-hmm.
you're properly adulting, there are so many bills that come onto you, and you're just like, what the fuck?
So then how does travel play into that for you?
I started reading Eat, Love, Pray, and I was like, you know what? She was on to something. She was on to something. Like, I don't relate to everything she was going through, but she was definitely on to something.
Mm-hmm.
I then began like, you know what? I'm really buying into the societal construct of like burden responsibility that I no longer really want to be a part of. And I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do something. Coming home has just been like uber different. It's just been so, the fuel in
Mm-hmm.
Kuwait was super cheap. Like gas here is so high. It's like 4.59 a gallon.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of months ago, I mean, you've taken vacations this year. Literally, like what, a month and a half ago, you did Bonaire, you did Vegas, you did Ireland. So was that enough?
No. I think it's different,
Okay.
right? When you say escapism, you are literally trying to leave where you're at. You're tired, so you no longer want to be part of the world that you're feeling like you're being pressed down into. Like you
Okay.
want to just leave because it's not that maybe you can't afford it. It's not that you aren't able to survive in it. It's just like when you look at your life, do
Mm-hmm.
you want to say, my life is, I'm living a life of obligation and stress?
Yeah. Okay, so you're burned out and you're saying you need more than a vacation to get away.
Exactly. Because a vacation is a couple days, you're moving around, it's not permanent, it's not your life. It might be beautiful, but then when you come back home, you're just like, well, shit, I'm back to the grind, or I'm back to whatever my normal
Mm-hmm.
mode is.
So I wondered if, like, once you get to the point that you're burned out, are you just thinking that it's like vacation doesn't work for anyone? Or do you think because we travel so extensively that we're at the point that 1 week isn't enough? Like, we've done that 1 week so many times that you need more. Do you think this is true for someone who doesn't travel a ton? If they're burned out of their lifestyle, that they take a week off, that they can, like, that'll right them? Or they also need a longer term period?
It's very much like when you went to Tulum. You were burnt out. COVID happened. Nobody had ever experienced that
Mm-hmm.
level of isolation and restriction because
Yeah.
really, I think it was the restriction over the isolation, right?
I, you know, it's weird. My life both changed a ton with COVID, but also changed like not at all. Um,
Mm.
well, okay, so I was considered like essential personnel, while a lot of the people I spoke to were stuck at home. In my mind, I'm like, you know what would be amazing? 24 hours in my house.
Right.
I would love that experience, but I'm leaving out and still living my life the
Right.
same way. And a lot of my coworkers were still in the office too. It wasn't like, oh, I'm super isolated. It almost felt like I was sprinting a marathon and everyone else was like stagnant around me. It's like, why are you guys getting to do this and I'm not? It almost felt like, I know people were like, I'm at home and this is depressing and I miss having people. And I was like, let me be at home. You know what I love? My bed.
The biggest thing I absolutely enjoyed about COVID was when I actually got stuck at home and then I was like remote work. I was like, this is amazing. But I think you had to be okay with being alone, and if you didn't have a curated circle and a space that you enjoyed, it was difficult. But I think from that, what maybe me and you, well, no, so you didn't actually experience that.
No, I didn't get to be fully remote until August of 2021 when COVID, I'm not going to say it was winding down, but it was kind of winding down. Like
because you can't have two struggles. Like you can't have inflation and a pandemic. Like you got to choose the struggle that you're going with. Like we couldn't have afforded to do both.
Yeah. So I think I was just burned out because it felt like I was just running too fast for too long and it had nothing to do with isolation. In some ways it had to do with COVID, but it also had like nothing to do with COVID.
Right. But that's when I say we get to the point where we start talking about escapism, because it's like you're just kind of tired. So I read Love, Eat, Pray, Eat, Pray, Love. Pray, Love. Eat, Pray, Love.
I love that you change the order of the words every time.
Pray, eat, love, eat, pray. I mean, we're eating, we're praying, and we're loving. There's a lot of it all in there, and we're enjoying it.
Some order, some way, somehow.
So I read it, and in my mind, I was just like, oh, I kind of need this in my life. I want to go to Italy and eat amazing pasta and learn how to speak Italian and just meet people and then go and find my mentor and just be free in this weird way, because I'm rebuking this like responsibility.